I see Hamilton twice, and I see the second night some understudies in the second night that didn't do the first night. And you see the jokes that the main person got and would squeeze the juice out of all these moments. And you're like, well, I see why he's the main star. The understudy's great, but you see why he's the main star. So all these things were going off in my head. And then I see the Hamilton first cast and I see their performance. I'm like, oh, this is so different. And I understand why the first cast they all became stars. I'm having all these thoughts go off in my head. You just open up a huge box, man.
This is actually sort of like breaking, like this is sort of an exclusive. Like this is actually like an Actors Guide to the End of the World podcast breaking news that
This is breaking news.
theater is actually good,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
anybody, like theater's decent.
All right. Welcome to the Actors Guide to the End of the World podcast, where we talk about acting in Hollywood in a way people understand. I'm Rían Song.
And I am Rían Chihikali.
Follow us wherever you find your podcasts at Actors Guide Podcast. We have video on YouTube, on Substack. If you enjoy it, please leave a review. It really helps the podcast. Follow us on all social media for fun clips during the week at Actors Guide Podcast. All right, everyone. So on the show for today, I am claiming that this is our warm and fuzzy episode. It's going to give you good vibes or all your money back. Recent announcement, Ireland has made a monthly stipend for artists permanent.
A program called the Basic Income for the Arts, which was a pilot scheme, which pays artists a monthly stipend.
I am so blown away by it. Ireland, everyone, they do
Go
some
on,
things
Ireland.
right.
We talk about Ican's newfound love for the theater.
Yeah, I'm a theater buff, everyone.
Breaking news. Yep. And then me and Ican get into a warm and fuzzy argument. So stick around for that.
Yeah, this is a good one, everyone.
And our sponsor for today's show, Indestructible Trailer. Take care of your actors without needing to worry about taking care of your trailer.
These trailers are put to the test and are built to last, no matter who's on the call sheet.
Little Tara, who just got her own Disney show, a A-list starlet who needs room for their entourage, a reality show star with their family of raccoons,
Indestructible Trailer has got you covered.
and now comes with a bidet.
For the raccoons.
So I'm in a great mood. This episode is going to make you warm and fuzzy inside. I have a great feeling about it. I guarantee it.
You guarantee it.
Yeah, I know, it's bold. So let's start off with, so did you see the performances with the Norwegians, with the David Nutter?
I did.
We talked a little bit about this last week, but David Nutter did a talk at Lesly Kahn, and then he also invited everyone to this showcase. I believe it was like, over the weekend, right? A couple nights throughout the entire weekend.
That's
and
right.
So you got an extra bonus. I mean, I'm so jealous because that would have been an incredible experience to see.
David Nutter is a prolific, widely experienced and brilliant TV director. Throw out a name, but he's directed The X-Files. He directed an episode of The Sopranos, a lot of Game of Thrones. He's a brilliant director. So he gave a talk at Lesly Kahn Studios where we take classes. What they do there is Leslie brings in people once a month to chat to the students. It's free. It's a really great opportunity to talk to and listen to ask questions and listen to heavy-hitting industry professionals.
Yeah, this guy is a stud, and Leslie herself was saying how lucky she was, that fact that he could show up at any studio and to collaborate with her is a real honor. So
yeah, and like I mentioned last week, he was so really generous with his time, but his approach to directing was what became the kind of focus of the conversation, and he has a really beautiful way of looking at directing, and he said that he always knew how to make people care about things. While when he started out, he didn't always have the technical knowledge, but he knew how to make people care about things. And what speaks to him about a script or a new project is how it makes him feel. And there has to be heart in it, which I thought was really cool. So what he does, he works with a group of actors in Norway, in Oslo in Norway, a group of Norwegian actors. And I think they do Zoom classes with him. And then they come over, I think twice a year, they bring them over and they do a showcase for industry professionals and casting directors and producers and stuff. So they
bring them over to America.
Bring them over to America. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I think they meet a bunch of people. I think it's like it's a week or 2 weeks, and they meet a load of people, they rehearse scenes and they put them up. And David Nutter has like a theater space in his home, which is cool. So they did to be fair, they picked some iconic scenes from movies and some plays and.
Oh yeah, and then were they doing the Irish plays?
They did. So they did. They did a scene from Banshees of Inisherin, which is with Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell. They did that scene, which is a great scene from that movie. But yeah, so they did some Irish scenes, which was really interesting. So these actors are acting not in their first language, and they're doing these sort of iconic scenes. I mean, they did a scene from Girl Interrupted. They did a scene from Marriage Story, that sort of iconic scene of the fight between.
Oh my God, the one where he punches the wall.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's a tough scene. That's a tough scene. So look, it's a challenge in and of itself, like, because you're dealing with material that people know well, and you're doing it in a language that's not your own. You're doing it in an accent that's not your own. But they did a really great job, and everybody brought something to it, and it was like a really entertaining showcase. It didn't drag at all. It was just like scene after scene after scene, and everybody got a good showing, and it was just a really cool. It just reminded me like how fun this stuff is, because we get to go and see things like this and just be a part of it, and it was a great reminder of like why I enjoy this kind of stuff as well. I'm like, oh, this is great. I get to go watch these cool scenes and see how somebody does them and see a different sort of take on them. But it was great, and David Nutter's obviously a great director, and so like it's intoxicating, I think, to be brought over to LA and to
yeah, of course.
When you live in a different country and you don't know, and maybe it's a lot of people's first time to come here, and you don't know anything about it, and suddenly you're meeting all these people, and it can also feel like, oh my God, this is my chance. I have to make I have to make the most of this, because this is my big break. So there's a lot of pressure in the mix there, but they did a really great job, and it was a really cool thing. And I'm I love that Leslie brings in these people, and we get sort of to meet people that we wouldn't necessarily get to meet ordinarily in the run of, unless you worked with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a great opportunity to chat to people. So
to see other people visit and kind of look at it with fresh eyes, I think that's kind of like the magic that, part of the reason why we even moved to LA in the first place, let alone people who aren't even Americans. So I think that's a great, it's like two reasons why shows like Entourage were so popular. It captures that appeal, you know what I mean? So
absolutely,
and I see it.
Maybe you can tell me your experience with this, because I moved to LA in 2007, right, and left in 2008 and went home, and then ended up in Chicago for 10 years. So I feel, and we were talking about this in class the other day, I feel like I missed the sort of golden era of LA. Because people were talking about it in class. They were talking about the sort of how the year would go. Pilot season, you'd be doing this, and then everybody would take the month off, and then they'd recast a lot of the pilots, so it was almost like a second pilot season in June. Mm-hmm. Everybody would take May off, and then in June they would come back, and then there'd be. So they were talking about sort of the golden era, sort of 2013, 2014, 2015, when there was so much content, when streaming had started to really come on. Now I missed all that because I left in 2008, and I didn't come back till 2018. And by the time I found my feet here, it was sort of, I was a year in, and then it was pandemic time. And what was that time like for you? Was that your experience of it, going in for pilots and, a really busy?
It was like that. Those cycles, as far as it was always busy during pilot season, and then it dies off during summer, that changed with around 2015, 2016. So it was more spread out through the entire year. So I don't know if that was our memory just playing with us, that this is exactly what it felt like. In all honesty, I don't know if my opportunities were really that much more than, say, 2018, 2019. And also, to be fair, it's like, I'm also a much more experienced actor. I wasn't in class for as long. I didn't know the industry as long. So for me to be completely rooted with more connections and credits, I'm probably not a good I'm probably not a good indication to really measure how strong LA was. I think that touches on a lot of the different experiences and different when I say age, I'm not talking about literal age. I'm talking about your acting age. Actually, this would be a great little anecdote. This is advice that I believe Godfrey's a popular comic. I believe this is one of the first advice that was given to him by Jerry Seinfeld. And he basically said, Jerry Seinfeld is the amount of time that you've been a comedian, the amount of time that you've been a stand-up, that's your age. That's it. It has nothing to do with your little age. So if you've been a stand-up comic for 2 years, you're 2 years. You're 2 years old. It's as simple as that. If you've been doing stand-up for 10 years, you're 10 years old. That's what experience actually really matters. Meaning that if I'm a middle-aged man who just got into acting, his acting age is 2 years old. It doesn't matter because that's how much experience you have. So for me, it took me a while to get into class. It took me a while to get into Lesly Kahn and real acting classes. And needless to say, I was probably having a lot of fun during those years. And it took me a while to take acting very seriously. I think the idea that the golden age of LA was back then, I think that actually might be problematic. When I say problematic, I what I mean is limiting, because I know a lot of people who miss the old days, and that's the reason why they hate self-tapes. That they believe that
agree.
they're not as good as they are in the room. And then, so, looking back is kind of tricky, because if you had a great career, I know a lot of people who are older. Oh, guess what? They probably are Caucasian. A lot of people were crushing back then, and they absolutely would love the good old days before more diversity, before streaming, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of different things going on with that. But that's part of the issue where I worry about the middle class actor, because those people who did really, really well, hopefully they were good with their money and they saved for times like this. When it's a really unsteady environment now, it's anyone's guess.
I agree. And I will say, like, there's a certain amount of resilience that I think comes with not having had that experience, because it's not like you miss it. And even, even during the strikes, or people like, being out of work for a while, I think that hits actors who fall into that category a bit harder, because whereas I was always used to surviving no matter what, you know what I mean, whether it was a side job or and also with it, not having a family to support. So I think things like that and the way the industry has changed have probably hit people like that a bit harder, because they were more dependent on it, whereas a lot of actors were just used to supporting themselves another way and taking jobs there. So, I feel like I'm sort of well equipped to handle downtimes, and because it doesn't really bother me, I'm like, well, I'm going to survive. You know what I mean?
That's so spot on. This is the experience that I'm talking about, because coming out of the strikes and, the aftermath after that, it was probably survived to 2025. It's literally, we were saying that all of 2024. I was talking to new actors who literally moved to LA, got hit by the strikes. And, this is a weird flex, but I basically said, this feels like Tuesday. As horrible, as rough as the 3 years it has been in LA, I kind of was like, yeah, we've seen this before, and it feels like Tuesday, because, in my personal experience, it's always been, like you said, a survival, resilient time. Be good with your money, save, keep working, and if you didn't have that experience, or if you're a newer actor, you wouldn't know until you actually survive it.
So even with the pessimism about the industry now, I don't feel that. You know what I mean? I do understand. I understand the current situation. I understand it's not great for a lot of people, and I have real empathy for that, and for people who are struggling with it. But I don't go around going, "Oh, we're all fucked," because I just don't feel like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't feel. I'm generally pretty optimistic and positive anyway. But I find it doesn't serve me to be like, "Oh, we're all fucked," because I can't walk around like that.
It's one thing to have these extreme labels. It's also reinforcing a story that we're telling ourselves. We can make a choice and be aware that, hey, is this story helping us? This is a perfect example. I forgot this is supposed to be the warm and fuzzy episode, so don't worry, we're getting there. But last week we talked about some real dark things. And for me, it's information, it's knowledge, but I don't get wrapped up in the story saying the world is doomed. I look towards action, that we can move forward, progress, and get through it. So this is the perfect time for the legendary Chinese proverb. I told my parents this. You might have heard this story before. There's this farmer. All of his horses one day ran off, and his neighbors came over to him and said, "This is so horrible. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. What are you going to do? This is such bad luck." The farmer goes, "We'll see." Next day, the horses that left brought back other horses back to the farm. So he had more horses than ever before. The neighbors said, "Oh my God, this is incredible luck. You're so fortunate. This is great." Farmer goes, "We'll see." Next day, his son is training the horses, falls down, breaks his leg. The neighbors come over to him and say, "This is so horrible. Your son is injured. What are you going to do? This is terrible." Farmer goes, "We'll see." Next day, the military comes into town and they're looking to enlist. They can't enlist his son because he's injured. The neighbors go, "Oh my God, you're so lucky. Your son didn't have to join the military." The farmer goes, "We'll see." Anyway, that's my Chinese proverb.
I've heard it slightly. Yeah, I've heard a similar
Really?
type of story.
Did you
Yeah.
listen, please tell me, did you hear the Irish version?
No, it wasn't Irish. It
Oh,
was.
okay,
It was.
okay,
I think
okay.
it was Buddhist or something. But it was like maybe, yeah, the farmer. But I also thought of like, I just imagine the neighbors coming home and going, "I was just over at the farmer next door's house. Yeah, does he say 'we'll see' to everything you say to him? Yeah, is that a bit weird? Like you can't pin him down on anything. Yeah, I'm not going over there again.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that guy lost all his friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Anyway, so I
I went
think
over it
that's-
and I asked him, could I borrow his lawnmower? He just said, "We'll see." I'm like, what the fuck is that? We'll see.
I love that. Anyway, I the fact that I got to drop a Chinese proverb on my parents, they really enjoyed that. Anyway,
Nice.
that's a reminder for myself that, hey, we go through these ups and downs and we never know what's going to come around the next, or come around the corner. We could cheer our good luck. Sure, that's great. We could, worry about our bad luck, but there's something around the corner, and it keeps going that way. So anyway, going back to, you got to, see the Norwegians come to the big LA and the shiny lights.
I was almost jealous of that too, because like, it's great to have that kind of excitement. And like when you've lived here for a while, you're like,
Yeah.
you have a different view of it because it's a city. It's where you live and, the good and the bad of it. But there's something really magic about LA that I forget sometimes.
Yes, also acting in person. Not losing sight of
Yeah.
acting in front of real people when we're on Zoom a lot. So there's something special about that.
Yeah, that's very true. And, obviously, and I get to act in person in class and whatever. But like, it was a few years ago when I auditioned for the Actors Studio and you do it in a black box theatre. I tell you about that? Yeah. But it was like, I loved the buzz of that. I forgot what it was like to be on a stage because I haven't been on stage in a long time. And like, I forgot now, that's on me. Like plays are available. People are making plays. I could audition for more theatre.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to know because here we are. We don't know what the next step of entertainment is. Entertainment gets more diversified. We keep talking about what are people going to do in the digital age. Theater, at least theater in New York is blossoming. I want to say that as we get more digital, people are going to flock towards in-person things. And what happens in the future when people are dying for human connection, who knows? Maybe we are going to be doing more theater. I don't know. I mean, what happens when you have, a Spielberg movie that gets thrown on streaming and through 30 eyeballs watch it versus, the 50 people in a black box theater. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
all the eyeballs are going to be segmented where, hey, who knows? Maybe we will be doing theater in the future.
I think there's a rebound to everything. I love seeing good theatre, and that's one thing I found in Ireland is that I was going to a lot more theatre than I do here. I mean, you've been to a few shows in New York, though, right? I mean, that's
Handful. Yeah. Actually, I wasn't going to bring this up, but I've officially seen enough theater in New York. I fell in love with theater. Like it literally just like recently have I seen such good experiences where I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, because you haven't done a lot of theatre, right? In your life.
I have not.
Yeah.
well, a handful of times. I never had a repeated practice of it.
Yeah, but I mean, you do more sort of exotic dancing than I do. I mean, that's sort of your main.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what you mean by performing. I didn't grow up with musicals, but I will say musicals alone. I've seen such like Book of Mormon. Obviously, I mean, how can you not Book of Mormon with the comedy, with the singing? Like, I'm not a dancer by any stretch, and I'm watching them, and I'm like, oh my God, I could do that and love it. I'm not saying I could do it well, but I could totally do that and enjoy myself. I was like, oh my God, this looks fun. You know what I mean?
I would pay good money to see you dancing in a musical.
Dude, I mean,
good money.
As far as broadening the higher horizons and not growing up with musicals, I saw Hamilton for the first time literally this month. And for those that would know, obviously, this is 10 years. This is 10-year anniversary. This is a huge, iconic, mind-blowing. I was immune to it because I never really listened to the music. I knew that I like hip hop. I never really knew whether, like, I never really listened to it, but I just assumed that I might enjoy it. I loved it. Okay. Even the songs that weren't hip hop, it actually, it like the music for whatever reason just connected to me. Okay. I was so blown away. Leslie Odom is one of the stars. He came back this year to do the run. People are gaga nuts for this show. So this is actually kind of a hidden gem. I might as well throw it at you guys. This is a hidden gem. You see cheap Hamilton tickets. You see standing room only tickets. Basically, before the show, right before the show, you wait in line. I was going to get 2 tickets for me and my sister. I was literally the last ticket. My sister did not get a ticket. And my sister just looked at me. She was like, well, you were the one that waited. She let me go in. Okay. I had such a great time. I said, we have to go back. Literally the next day, I did standing room only. And me and my sister got the last 2 tickets again.
Nice.
These people are insane. I saw people in line, didn't speak a word of English, and they were singing word for word every Hamilton song in line while they were waiting for standing room only tickets.
So they speak some words of English then.
Well, exactly.
Those words of English.
My mind is blown. I thought theater in general was not specific, a lot of indicating, and you didn't need to be specific and clear with your acting.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so
you really thought that?
I was, you kind of opened me up with you threw me in
yeah,
this.
fucking let's explore this.
This is my huge revelation because I've
Yeah,
seen a good
theater's
amount of
great,
theater,
man.
huge stars. I've seen Lawrence Fishburne, I've seen Sam Rockwell. Okay, cool. I mean, I didn't spend an arm and a leg, but I can understand people want to see Sam Rockwell live. This year, I saw Gene Smart do a one-woman show called Me Izzy, and that was transcendent.
Love James Smart.
And then I saw Hamilton. And the thing is credit to the writing, Lin-Manuel's a genius, and you have multiple casts do his show, and they crush because the show is so good. They know all the moments. It's a move. It's a train that is going to crush. And then you see Leslie Odom do it, and you're like, this guy's a star. I see Hamilton twice, and I see the second night some understudies in the second night that didn't do the first night. And you see the jokes that the main person got and would squeeze the juice out of all these moments. And you're like, well, I see why he's the main star. The understudy's great, but you see why he's the main star. So all these things were going off in my head. And then I see the Hamilton first cast, and I see their performance. I'm like, oh, this is so different, but all the nuts and bolts were there. And I understand why the first cast they all became stars. I'm having all these thoughts go off in my head over what you just opened up a huge box, man. I saw.
Well, this is actually
This
is actually sort of like breaking. Like this is sort of an exclusive. Like this is actually like an Actors Guide to the End of the World podcast breaking news that theater is actually good, guys. I don't know if anybody theater's decent.
And to top it off, this is literally 10 years of Hamilton. This is the 10-year anniversary. So this is 10 years of me being, oh, this is what everyone was going crazy about. Anyway, can you actually tell the story for 500 people in a huge auditorium to the back row, but have all their thoughts and reactions and the storytelling and the acting and directing moment to moment specific. I get it now, because I thought everyone, I thought I was being gaslit. I thought I was being gaslit. I thought everyone is
You
raving.
know, it was a conspiracy that everybody's like,
yeah.
here, tell Kahn plays are good. Tell him. Tell
exactly,
him.
exactly.
He'll believe it. No, he'll believe anything. He'll believe anything. Just tell him plays are good.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, theater is incredible. Good theater is incredible. But it's like, I guess it's like, you know, there's good performances in film and TV and bad performances in film and TV. The difference in theater is you have to get it across over a wider space. Like with at least with the camera, you can just, you don't have to, you know, you don't have to project. You don't have to, you can just keep it all here. So it's almost more skillful to get that specificity and get that across, you know, in a theater setting.
Let's talk about this, because we talked about this briefly in the past, but this is a very great point. Now, they say that TV is a writer's medium. You know, as we go through streaming, that's I think that's still true. They say film is a director's medium. You know, they're the auteur, they're crafting it. It's kind of like their vision. It's kind of standalone. They say, and I think that's part of the reason why actors say they get on the stage and feel what that is that's the one time where the actor actually does have control. Now, obviously, they workshop it, but the actor is the one doing it. There's no cuts, there's no edits. It's the actor doing it, right? So that might be the purest form and the truest power of the actor, right?
Yeah.
So my point is because there's so many layers of film and TV that are completely out of control of the actor, for better or worse. I don't even blame the actor. Like I can't even tell. Like I don't even say that actor's bad. I don't even say that anymore. I heard that a long time ago, and I think it's true. If you're in a film and you look horrible for whatever reason, whether it fits out of that or you're telling a different story than everyone else, it's the director's fault. And when I say an actor looks bad, that's a poor way of describing it. It's if the actor is not looking through the lens. There's a trust that the director, the editor, the cinematographer, the heads of departments are going to do their job. Of course, we should do everything in our power, like Tom Cruise, know all your angles. Ultimately, the final decisions are going to be with the director and editor.
I disagree with that to a certain.
Oh, really?
I disagree with that to a certain extent. Yeah, because I think it's your job no matter what. It's your job. You know when someone's very specific, and you can see specificity in thoughts in a performance. Always, I think. Like you notice it. It's not like I look at acting and go, "That's terrible acting." I notice really good acting though, when I'm like, "Oh, that was great."
Yeah, but that's not.
But to say it's completely out of an actor's control, I think is untrue.
No. My point is so what I'm saying is for the director to choose all your best takes. That's not what the conversation is.
I get it. I understand that there are a lot of elements that are out of your control, but it doesn't diminish what you can control. It doesn't diminish your responsibility as a performer. And I think no matter what take is chosen, that's why you have to be specific on every take, and you have to be listening, and you have to do all the things that we learn and all the things we do, because
you're right. You want to be director proof. You want to be edit proof. I think what I'm getting at is let's use film. Let's use film, for example, where you have the benefit of maybe, more than 5 takes, and then, up towards the David Fincher 70 takes. Okay. If you're a smaller role on TV, you're probably going to get 3 takes at something. That's fair. You got to make sure those 3 takes are good, right?
Or 2.
You're not in cover. You're not in control of your coverage. You do want to look good. What looking good means, that's subjective, obviously, right? I think my point is people like Meryl Streep and people like Adam Driver, they have the benefit of doing a variety of different things and being as free to go all the different places. My point is they're still not in control of the editing, the flow of the story, and the directing. And the entire piece as a whole for film, and as example, it's a director's medium. My point is you could do your great job with the 3 takes, right? And then I could still prioritize the fact that it's golden hour and the sunset is falling over the day player's best take. Let's say you do 2 completely different opinions. One is a better choice and then the other.
Yeah.
Right? It's up to the director and editor's vision as far as how they want to tell that story.
Sure.
So that's it. You could do both incredibly specific, but let's say one choice is better for the arc of the story and then not.
So a more accurate choice, you think,
exactly.
to the character or to the...
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And then that's what I'm saying. You gave them the material to work with, and then there's the director or editor's choice.
You're basically taking the responsibility off the actor entirely and going, well, the director isn't the writer, so nothing you can do. You know what I mean?
I'm not absolving the actor from responsibility.
I think we're saying the same thing. The actor needs to be director, editor proof, do everything in their power and be undeniable. The difference is I'm acknowledging the limitations, and I'm wondering if you're underestimating that.
Jason Bateman literally will tell a director or whatever, I'm not doing that note. He doesn't want to give them that note, right? Because he doesn't want them to use that in the edit. That is a rare, very lucky. We should all be so fortunate to have that power. If you we want to be the best that we can be. We want to be the clearest that we can be in the medium that we're acting. My point is Jason Bateman, fortunately, has earned that power, and most of us don't. And most of actors who aren't Jason Bateman are at mercy of the director and the editor. By the way,
to a degree,
yeah. And then once we give our consent with AI, they're going to be getting whatever note that they want anyway. So that they're.
Wait, what do you mean? Once we give our consent with AI? Oh, you mean they're going to change your performance with AI?
Yeah, I'm saying that they're allowed. Technically, they are allowed to change your performance anyways. Say for example, well, now we're really getting So
I just want to say at this point, like, I feel pretty warm and fuzzy. I don't know about you.
I know, exactly. I didn't even get to the good stuff yet. If you were going to consent to letting a production use AI, they would have to ask for your consent. You gave their consent, and they have the rights to change the alter the performance in a reasonable amount. Meaning that if the scene is roughly the same, they can alter it. Those are the things. Unfortunately, all that language in the contract is very, it's kind of broad, like I just said. That being said, they could put whatever words and change their performance in that scene. So we are losing the power of that even more because whether Jason Bateman says that or not, they probably could change that anyway. So on to the warm and fuzzy stuff. So needless to say, we're pretty biased here. I think we can say that we're fans of Ireland. That's correct, right? We're pro Ireland. I have to say,
certainly one of us.
Yeah. We're pretty pro Ireland over here.
Where is this going?
Sometimes you guys really get it right. Okay. So Ireland just announced their stipend for artists. It's their monthly stipend for artists. They had a program that they launched during the pandemic. They just announced that it's permanent. This is going to be a permanent program moving on in 2026. This is huge. This is pretty rare in the big scope of things. So I just wanted to give you your flowers. This is the warm and fuzzy I've been talking about. This is big. This is big.
Yes, it is.
So tell me what you think about this.
It's great. I think it's wonderful. A few friends of mine got it actually the first time around. So they started this as a pilot program, and basically they were the idea was that it would be a basic income for the arts, and it works out I think to about 325 euro per week. That's just paid monthly to artists. People
and that's around 420 some dollars for the exchange rate.
Yeah, so that's per week. It's not contingent on, it's not means tested. It's not, you don't have to earn a certain amount or not make a certain amount in order to qualify. You do have to apply, and there are eligibility criteria. So this started as a pilot program. People could apply, whatever, and a few friends of mine got it. So, basically
amazing.
the theory
During
is
the
it
pandemic?
takes. Yeah, no, more recently than the pandemic, over the last
Oh, wow.
the last few years, yeah.
Okay.
But the program's gone well, and they're making it permanent. I think it's going to support around 2,000 artists. So it's small sample size to begin with, anyway. But basically, the theory is that like it takes the pressure off artists, because it gives them this sort of guaranteed income. You can also earn anything else you want on top of that. It's not, they don't penalize you for it. So it's to kind of promote art in various different forms in Ireland, and to allow people to create, without the pressure of like having to come up with that amount of money every month in addition to everything else. So I think it's a
I
brilliant.
think it makes all the sense in the world. So who's going with me?
Yeah.
So where do we sign up? I'm ready to move there right now.
No, absolutely. I think
This is
I think it's a
incredible.
brilliant scheme, and like it's Ireland does value the arts. Like in my experience of it, and like granted I haven't lived there for a while, but that's my impression of it, that Ireland does value the arts in a way that's not, that isn't always the case in particularly in this country. There's some debate about, whenever these schemes come up, there's debate about the validity of them. But I think Ireland is pretty good at like placing value on the arts, because that's one of our great strengths, I think, as a society, and one of our great, a lot of our great exports to the world are literature and poetry and plays and
I think that's an
movies and-
understatement.
Yeah.
I think that's an understatement. You guys put your money where your mouth is, and I think that speaks volumes, because you're completely right. Does anyone value the arts? This is really, obviously I don't want to be bombastic about this, but part of the reason why, back to the whole theater thing, and then my love for theater now I'm a theater buff. How many cities really push the arts, support it, push it out there? We don't see a lot of these programs. Speaking of New York, they had the creatives. Oh, by the way, the name of this Ireland program is the Basic Income for the Arts,
Yep.
BIA. It's a pilot program, and now it's permanent. The closest thing that America or New York had, Creatives Rebuild New York, Artist Employment Program. So they've had these type of things, these type of programs. None of them were ever made permanent. Any country in the world never made permanent. They had pilot programs, never made permanent. Okay. New York, this collaboration, and it goes on for 2 years and so on. And obviously New York's expensive. So there's that. But these type of things were always pilot programs, and they were never government funded.
I see.
So this is Ireland's government pushing it versus a bunch of grant money and so on and so forth. So that's another thing. You know what I mean? This other, we can get into the conversation as far as universal basic income. We're getting into that conversation. A lot of countries, are fighting. Canada is trying to do that. They're actually they're hoping that the momentum of this Ireland program could actually help springboard other programs like that. But, this is specifically for the artists. There's no strings attached. I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
The fact that, you have a successful, country like this, that they've done it for 3 years, and to make it permanent, for now, it's rare. I think it's rare.
It's because I think the arts are I think it's vital, and I'm not being facetious when I say that. I think the arts are vital to any society. I think it's like,
I mean, usually in the past when you said that, we thought you were facetious, but now it feels like it's for real.
yeah, you thought I was a real prick. They're like, who's this fucking guy talking about this bullshit again? Going on about the arts. All right, yeah. All right, Picasso. So, but I think it like, you see it valued, and I find that in a lot of European countries as well. It is, there is a lot of there's a lot of public art installations, and it creates such it creates such goodwill in a country and such a feeling of positivity, and I think it opens people up in a way that, like, I've never really understood. There's such a debate about it here that, like, schemes are being slashed and people are like, why are we paying for this? Like, why is that? What's the value of this? And there's this back and forth all the time between, this weird kind of like brutal pragmatism where, like, no, this is a waste of money. This is a fucking waste, my taxes.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. This goes back into the fact that, first of all, Americans were, it's funny. It's funny. I'm so Irish. I'm using Americans as they.
Yeah, they.
Right.
These guys.
But Americans are known for overworking. We know that, you look at what the entertainment industry is doing, they're going to squeeze every dollar out of any of their workers, and et cetera, et cetera. So America is extreme. But it brings up a good point. Part of the reason why a lot of these programs end, I think Finland had a basic income, ended after a year. When it got to the point where citizens had to vote to increase taxes to allow the program to keep going, they didn't see a benefit. Okay. So they didn't vote for more taxes. And now we can see here that not only was there success from the pilot program, but the citizens thought it was worthwhile across the board, for all citizens, whether they're artists or not, and they were all for the program. So there you go. And it was actually helping all of their community and society as a whole. So there you go. And yeah. I think, like you were saying, in America, we're not convinced.
No, there's it's much more up for debate here. Like many things are up for debate here, that in a way that they aren't in Ireland and in Europe in the same way. It's one of the interesting things about America. It's quite, and particularly now, it feels quite divided, and there's so much. It's quite acrimonious, and there's a lot of conflict, and so when something like this comes along, I'm thrilled to see it. I'm absolutely thrilled to see it. We just have our outgoing president. We just voted in a new president, Catherine Connolly. But the outgoing president, yeah, my God. Now the president in Ireland is it's not like a president here. It's more of a figurehead of state, as opposed to, like, the practical leader of the effective leader of the country. The leader of the country is the Taoiseach, which is prime minister, basically. And the president is slightly more ceremonial. They do sign things into law, but it's not a. It's more of a, head of a sort of an ambassador of the country to the rest of the world. But our outgoing president, Michael D. Higgins, was fantastic. We've had very good presidents for the last while. And the term is 7 years. He just did, and you can do 2 terms. He just did 14 years, and he's a really wonderful guy, and very outspoken on the issues that he cares about, and a great ambassador for Ireland. But he said that, like, a country should be judged on how they treat their most vulnerable citizens, and I believe that. Like, I think that. That putting value on the arts and that kind of compassion, that really typifies a healthy society, I think.
Wow, that was well put. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What I tell you, everyone, warm and fuzzy. Warm and fuzzy. Yeah. We delivered. That was the warm and fuzziest thing I ever heard in my life. So there you go. And as an American, I can say, I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds great. One last little note about this competition. Credit to your friends. This competition for this program, 8,200 applicants in 2022, mm-hmm. 2,000 were chosen. So it's very competitive. Out of 8,200, 2,000 were chosen.
That's not bad, but it's 1 in 4. Like, you know what I mean? That's 1 in 4. You have a 1 in 4 chance. That's not a bad. Those aren't bad odds.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And then they increased it recently to 2,200. Okay. So there you go. We want to see. Hey, here's the thing. It's like, we want to see this program do well, and it's been doing well for many years now. And we'll see other countries follow suit. But we all can learn a little bit from Ireland for sure. So more for the warm and fuzzy. Let's do hidden gems.
Let's do hidden gems.
So this is a hidden gem courtesy of Lesly Kahn. She mentioned a I don't know. I don't know if she would describe it as a tool or a thing that she kind of came up with. Just a little fun tool that she uses, and she, has her actors do. She mentioned it recently. When you have an actor's victory, whether it is you got called back, you got a pin, you had a great, lovely experience on set. She said to make a one sheet about it. Basically, a one sheet is a document, whether you want to whip something up on Canva. It's a one sheet document of a picture, it's some text, and you can just kind of document it. It's almost like a victory scrapbook. It's just important because it's a reminder to celebrate our victories, keep morale up, self esteem. It also helps perseverance to get to the next victory. It reminded me of like a story that I wanted to share on Instagram and social media, and I'm going to do that. And there's
love
not
that.
a lot of celebration going on in our industry, so there you go. So it's
No,
a
I
time to
love
do
that.
it. So that's my hand to
Yeah,
Jeff.
that's great. And I think I mentioned this before, but I stole this from Emmett Scanlon.
Oh yeah, I love that.
We talked about, so every time I get a job or whatever, what I'll do is I'll keep like sparkling apple juice because obviously I don't drink, so I keep that in the fridge, and then whenever I get a job, I will FaceTime my parents, and they'll have one in Ireland, and we'll celebrate together, and I'll drink open a little bottle of sparkling, because it just, yeah, it helps solidify that thing of like just celebrate the victories, because this is like, it's brilliant. This is all great stuff, and I think it contributes to that positive feeling and leads to more. So I think that one sheet, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a really cool idea. My hidden gem for this, I'm going to get it actually, just so I can show you for those who are watching on YouTube. 1 second. So my mother put me onto these things, but these are mists. They're called Australian bush flower essences, and they're a combination of different like herbs and flowers and stuff. But they sell these mists. They also sell like things you can, drops you can put on your tongue, like all of these essences made of Australian flowers, bush flowers. But these mists I use and I spray them around. This is a space clearing. They have them for different purposes, but this is the space clearing mist. It says you can spray them on your skin. You just spray them around. They smell phenomenal. But it says this one assists in clearing negative energies, emotional and psychic, to create a safe, sacred, and harmonious environment.
There you go. Perfect. You didn't even know we were going to be warm and fuzzy this episode, but this is perfect for that.
There's a travel essence, but I absolutely adore these things. Like, they smell phenomenal. So I meditate in the morning to calm the fucking gerbil running around in my head. So So what I'll do beforehand is I'll spray that space clearing mist, and I love the smell of it. So it just calms me right down, and then I meditate for 30 minutes. So that's part of my little morning routine. But they're great. They're really. I'm
curious. How did you come up on these particular drops? Australian of all.
My mother.
Of all
through my mom. My mom's a homeopath and also clued into a lot of different things. So she turned me onto them. Yeah. That's
awesome.
She qualified as a homeopath many years ago in Ireland, and she's was a journalist her whole career, but also practiced homeopathy, and she's
good to know.
Such a wealth of knowledge about so many different things. So this is she turned me onto these bush flower essences. Yeah, so just as mists, if you want to just spray them around. They also have all kinds of other things. I think you can just go on their website and order them.
And it doesn't bother your allergies.
No.
There you go. That's a good advertisement for it. There you go. Maybe that's a future sponsor. All right. Well, that's our show, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the episode, everyone. Have a good one.
See you guys.